Begging for love is the slowest form of suicide. You're not just killing her attraction. You are systematically executing your own self-respect, one pathetic plea at a time. She didn't just ghost you. She watched you self-destruct and chose to let you burn. Let's be clear about what happened. You handed her the matches and the gasoline when you sent that second text, then the third. Then that desperate, late-night call that went straight to voicemail, a digital tombstone for your dignity. You sat there, staring at the screen, a slave to the word delivered, a two-syllable confirmation of your complete and utter irrelevance to her world. You reread your own paragraphs of emotional vomit, looking for a flaw in your argument, as if this were a debate you could win with logic or sentiment. You tried to reason with an emotion that is fundamentally unreasonable, contempt. She wasn't ignoring you because she was busy. She was ignoring you because your neediness was physically repulsive. It created a visceral reaction in her, a primal urge to recoil from the weakness you were broadcasting like a signal of plague. This isn't poetry. It's biology. The philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer understood this brutal calculus of human nature. He saw the world as a manifestation of a blind, striving will, a relentless force that seeks to assert itself. In the theater of attraction, this will is not drawn to pity or supplication. It is drawn to strength, to power, to a will that is equal to or greater than its own. When you begged, you weren't communicating love. You were communicating a deficit. You were a void trying to be filled, a parasite seeking a host. You showed her that your emotional survival depended on her, and in that moment, you ceased to be a man in her eyes and became a burden. Her silence wasn't a punishment. It was a biological imperative. The same way an animal abandons a weakling from the pack, she abandoned you to preserve her own sense of vitality. You had become an anchor, and her instinct was to cut the rope. You think you were fighting for love, but you were really just negotiating the terms of your own surrender from a position of absolute weakness. Every word you typed was another shovel of dirt on your own grave. Before we begin the excavation and turn that grave into a throne, I demand you make a choice. This is not a channel for the weak-willed or for those seeking comfort. This is a training ground. If you are ready to stop being a victim and start being a strategist, then subscribe to Psychological Dominion now. Activate all notifications, because a missed lesson is a battle lost before it even begins. Press the like button as a digital salute, a signal that you are enlisting in this war for your own sovereignty. And in the comments below, I want you to declare your position. Tell me what city you are watching from. Let the world see the map of our new empire, an empire of men who refuse to kneel. Share the story of a time you felt powerless. Let this be the last time you ever tell it from the perspective of the defeated. You believe the power dynamic is set in stone. She holds all the cards because she controls the communication. Her silence is her castle, and you are the peasant starving outside its walls. You are wrong. You are looking at the battlefield with the eyes of a soldier who has already accepted defeat. You see her silence as a weapon used against you. You are about to learn how to forge your own silence into a weapon so cold, so sharp, and so terrifying that it will shatter her fortress of indifference. You think you miss her, but you don't. You miss the person you were before you debased yourself for her validation. You miss your own power. And the path back to that power is not through her forgiveness or her attention. It is through a period of absolute, strategic, and weaponized nothingness. A silence so profound it becomes a statement. A void so complete it forces her to confront what she has lost, not what she has escaped. The man she dismissed is about to die, and in his place, something she is not prepared for is about to be born. The question is, can you endure the agony of your own rebirth long enough to see her realize the monster she created by underestimating you? Let's dissect the architecture of your collapse. You think this was a sudden event, a lightning strike of rejection that left you in ruins. You are mistaken. The building of your self-respect was condemned long before she walked away. It was a slow, deliberate demolition, and you were the one swinging the sledgehammer. This wasn't a tragedy. It was a process. A 5-act play of self-betrayal, and you played every part to perfection. We are not here to mourn your loss. We are here to perform an autopsy on your weakness, to identify the pathology of your surrender so that it may never infect you again. Forget what you think you know about love, about fairness, about communication. We are entering the cold, sterile theater of strategy, where every action is a move on the board, and every feeling is a potential liability. The first stage of your downfall was almost imperceptible. It was the stage of emotional concession. It began not with a grand gesture, but with 1,000 tiny surrenders. It started when she said, "You hang out with your friends too much," and you, hearing a ripple in the calm waters of her affection, canceled your plans. You told yourself it was a compromise. You told yourself it was what a good boyfriend does. What you actually did was communicate a fatal piece of intelligence. Your world is negotiable, your boundaries are soft, and her emotional state is more important than your own commitments. She tested. You conceded. She won. Each time you agreed with an opinion you didn't hold, just to avoid a debate. Each time you changed your shirt because she didn't like that one. Each time you said sorry for something that was not your fault. You were handing her a small piece of your sovereignty. Schopenhauer would see this not as kindness, but as a diminishment of your own will. You were voluntarily weakening your own life force, your own drive to exist as a distinct and independent entity, in the hopes of being absorbed into hers. Strong will is not attracted to a vacuum. It is attracted to another strong will. By making these concessions, you weren't building a bridge to her. You were digging a trench for yourself. Think of the man who loves to play guitar. In the beginning, she finds it charming. Then, one night she says, "Could you not play tonight? I have a headache." He stops. A week later, she complains it's too loud while she's watching her show. He starts playing only when she's out. Soon, the guitar is in its case, gathering dust in a closet. He didn't just give up a hobby. He conceded a part of his identity. He broadcasted that her momentary comfort was worth more than his passion. The test was not about the guitar. It was about his spine. And he failed the test. The fall is not visible. It happens in the silence of these small, unprotested concessions. This leads directly to the second stage, the loss of control. Having established that your boundaries are permeable, she now understands that she can dictate the emotional weather of the relationship. Your state of mind becomes a direct reflection of her approval. If she is happy, you are relieved. If she is distant or upset, you are thrown into a state of panic. You are no longer the thermostat, setting the temperature of your own life. You are the thermometer, merely reflecting the climate she creates. Her silence is dominance, not distraction. Consider the dynamic. She has a bad day at work and comes home in a foul mood. The man who has maintained his sovereignty will notice, perhaps offer support, but his own internal state remains unshaken. He is an oak tree, and her mood is the wind. It may blow, but it does not uproot him. But you, having made 1,000 concessions, have become a leaf. You are tossed and turned by her every sigh, her every clipped response. Your entire evening is now a mission. How do I fix her mood? You walk on eggshells. You ask, "What's wrong?" 12 times. You offer solutions she doesn't want. Your desperate attempts to fix the situation only amplify her power. You have given her the remote control to your emotions. She can make you feel anxious, desperate, and needy with a single tool, her withdrawal. This is a classic psychological siege. By withholding warmth and communication, she forces you to exhaust your own resources trying to breach the walls. Every text you send asking, "Are you okay?" is another soldier lost in a futile assault. You have surrendered the strategic high ground of emotional independence. You are now reactive, not proactive. Your actions are no longer driven by your own purpose, but by the desperate need to manage her emotions, a task at which you are doomed to fail because you are trying to solve a power problem with emotional labor. Once you have ceded control of your emotional state, you inevitably enter the third stage, the desperate quest for validation. Your internal compass is now broken. You no longer trust your own judgment of your worth. So, you outsource it to her. Your self-esteem is no longer a fortress built from within. It is a sandcastle on the shore, dependent on the tide of her approval. This is the death of authentic action. You stop doing things because they align with your values and start doing things purely to elicit a positive response from her. You buy her gifts not from a place of genuine generosity, but as a plea for a smile. You plan elaborate dates not to create a shared experience, but to receive the validation of her saying, "You're the best." You become a performer, and she is the one-person audience you are desperate to please. This behavior is repulsive because it is dishonest. It is masked in the language of love and care, but it is rooted in the profound insecurity of a man who needs a woman to tell him he is a man. Schopenhauer's philosophy is brutal on this point. The world is a relentless striving, a manifestation of will. A man who has surrendered his own internal drive, his own reasons for being, and seeks his purpose in the eyes of another, is an object of contempt for the very force of life itself. He is a glitch in the system. Nature, and by extension, a woman's primal attraction, abhors this kind of vacuum. She doesn't want a court jester trying to win her favor. She wants a king who is secure in his own kingdom. When you begged for her approval, you were telling her, "My kingdom is worthless without you as its queen." The silent, terrifying response from her subconscious was, "Then your kingdom is not a kingdom at all. It is a prison, and I refuse to be your warden." She tested you, and you failed. You thought being the nice guy who always put her first was the path to her heart. You were wrong. It was the path to her contempt. You weren't being nice. You were being strategic in the most pathetic way possible, trading your dignity for scraps of affection. This grotesque dependency metastasizes into the fourth and most critical stage, affective dependency. You are now a full-blown addict. Her attention is your drug. A good morning text is your morning fix. A shared laugh is a momentary high. Her silence is the agony of withdrawal. Your brain chemistry has been hijacked. You are caught in a dopamine loop, a cruel cycle of intermittent reinforcement. Because she sometimes gives you the validation you crave, you become addicted to the possibility of it, even as she gives it less and less frequently. This is the same mechanism that keeps a gambler pulling the lever on a slot machine. The occasional, unpredictable reward is far more addictive than a consistent one. Your life is no longer about your mission, your purpose, or your growth. It is about securing the next hit of her validation. Your friends notice you've become distant. Your work begins to suffer. Your own hobbies and interests seem gray and lifeless compared to the vibrant, terrifying drama of your relationship. You have made her the sun in your solar system, and you have reduced yourself to a dead rock that can only reflect her light. This is the point of no return for her attraction. As Schopenhauer might argue, you have completely inverted the natural order. Your will, which should be striving to assert itself upon the world, has become entirely parasitic. It seeks not to create, but to consume her energy, her attention, her life force. You think you are showing her how much you love her. What she feels is the terrifying psychic weight of a black hole. She feels you trying to merge with her, to dissolve your own identity into hers, and this is the most repulsive violation of her own sovereignty. Her instinct, her biological imperative, is to flee, not out of cruelty, but out of self-preservation. You have become a threat to her own vitality. When you apologized for needing her, you signed your surrender. You admitted that you were a burden. And so, we arrive at the final, pathetic act of your self-immolation, the breaking of the silence. After she is pulled away, disgusted by the weakness you have so nakedly displayed, she erects a wall. The ghosting begins, the unanswered calls, the delivered receipts that mock your desperation. This silence is not an absence of communication. It is the most powerful communication she has. It is a declaration of her dominance. A statement that says, "You do not exist in my world anymore. Your emotional state is irrelevant to me." A strategic man, the man of power, would understand this. He would meet her silence with a silence of his own, a silence so profound and absolute that it would create a vacuum, forcing her to question her own decision. But you are not that man. You are an addict in withdrawal. You panic, and you commit the ultimate strategic sin. You break the silence. The double text, the triple text, the long, rambling paragraph pouring out your heart, explaining your feelings, begging for another chance. The late-night call that goes to voicemail. Each of these actions is a desperate scream into the void, and the only thing the void echoes back is your own powerlessness. You think you are fighting for the relationship. You are not. You are simply confirming her decision to leave. You are showing her, with irrefutable proof, that you are the needy, dependent, out-of-control man she correctly assessed you to be. Every word you type is another nail in the coffin of her respect for you. You are negotiating for your own subjugation. When you asked her why, you were giving her the judge's gavel. When you begged for closure, you were asking your executioner to explain the mechanics of the guillotine. No one is coming to save you. You must save yourself, and the first step is to understand, with chilling clarity, that you orchestrated your own defeat. Now I can feel the objections rising in your mind, the pathetic rationalizations your ego is scrambling to construct. But I was just being honest with my feelings, you might say. Honesty without power is just noise. You weren't sharing your feelings, you were attempting to make her responsible for them. It was a transfer of emotional debt. Power does not respond to a bill collector, it responds to value. You offered none. Another objection. This sounds cold and manipulative. I just want to love and be loved. You are confusing love with a transaction. You were not offering love. You were offering dependency and calling it love. The universe is governed by cause and effect, by power dynamics, by the relentless push of the will. To call the understanding of these laws manipulation is to call a physicist manipulative for understanding gravity. She used your emotional neediness to control you, to test you, to ultimately dismiss you. Was that not a manipulation of your weakness? You are not learning to be a manipulator. You are learning to no longer be manipulated. You are choosing to see the chessboard for what it is, instead of pretending it's a garden party. The final, most common objection. But I can't just turn my feelings off. I truly miss her. You do not miss her. You miss the feeling of validation she provided. You are an addict missing his drug, not a king missing his queen. The person you built her up to be in your mind does not exist. You are mourning a fantasy that was shattered by the reality of her contempt for the man you became. Before we proceed to forge the weapons you will need for the war ahead, a choice must be made. This is not a democracy. This is a dictatorship of the self. If you are ready to stop being a case study in failure, start becoming a master of psychological strategy, then your enlistment is required. Subscribe to Psychological Dominion and activate all notifications. Each lesson is a piece of ammunition. Do not be the soldier who shows up to a gunfight with an empty magazine. Like this video as a formal declaration that your old, weak self is now dead and buried, and in the comments below, I demand an answer. What was the one small compromise you made, the one moment you said yes when you should have said no, that you now realize was the beginning of your surrender? Let the world see the catalog of our past mistakes, so we may never repeat them. This is not about shame, it is about strategic assessment. The fall was not a dramatic, visible collapse. It was a quiet, internal rot. It happened in the hesitation before you defended a boundary. It happened in the "I'm sorry" that you didn't mean. It happened in the thousand small ways you chose her comfort over your own respect. She didn't break you. You were already broken. In those broken pieces, we will build a monster of self-possession and control. A man she is not prepared to meet. There is no going back for the weak man. There is only the construction of the new one. The man who begged, who pleaded, who debased himself at her digital feet. That man must be executed. This is not a metaphor. It is a command. You will hold a funeral for your weakness, and from its ashes, you will forge a weapon. The process is not emotional. It is not about healing, finding closure, or understanding your feelings. That is the language of the therapist's couch, the language of the castrated. We are here to talk about the language of power, the cold arithmetic of dominion. Your reconstruction will be built on 3 pillars of tactical warfare. Cut the excess. Install the silence. Control the reaction. This is not a journey of self-discovery. It is the systematic installation of a new operating system, one that is immune to the virus of her validation. First, you will cut the excess. This is a scorched earth policy. You will go through your phone, your computer, your life, and you will erase every trace of her existence. This is not done out of anger or pain. It's a strategic cleansing of the battlefield. Every photograph is a landmine of nostalgia waiting to cripple you. Every saved text message is a pocket of poison gas. You will delete them all, then block her number. You will block her on every social media platform. You will not tell her you are doing this. You will not send a final dramatic message. To do so would be to seek a reaction, to show your hand, to admit that this action is about her. It is not. This is about you. You are removing the stimulus that triggers your addiction. An alcoholic does not keep a bottle of whiskey on his desk to test his willpower. He removes it from his environment entirely. Her presence in your digital life, however passive, is the bottle you keep reaching for. By cutting all contact, you are taking away her ability to monitor you, to gauge your misery, to feel the quiet satisfaction of knowing you are still orbiting her. You are vanishing from her radar. You are becoming a ghost, a void, a question mark. This immediate and total disappearance is the first shock to her system. She expects you to linger. She expects you to watch her stories, to be a sad satellite in her galaxy. Your sudden, unexplained absence is the first move on the new board, and it is a move she did not anticipate. Next, you will install the silence. This is the most potent weapon in your new arsenal. Your previous mistake was using words to fill the void she created. You will now use silence to create a void so immense it pulls her in. Understand this. Your silence is not passive. It is an active, offensive measure. It is a declaration of supreme indifference. She used her silence to communicate your irrelevance. You will now use your silence to communicate her irrelevance. It is a mirror, reflecting her own strategy back at her, but with a coldness she is not prepared for. Do not reconquer. Replace with a sharper silence. This silence is your training ground. In the deafening quiet, you will be forced to confront the howling addict in your own mind. The urge to check her profile through a friend's account, the impulse to type a message and then delete it. These are the death throes of the weak man. You will sit with that discomfort. You will starve the addiction. Schopenhauer saw life as a constant, painful striving of the will. Your desperate need for her is a manifestation of that will, blind and irrational. The strategic man does not allow this blind will to dictate his actions. He observes it. He understands its power, but he does not obey its commands. He learns to separate the impulse from the action. Your silence is the cage in which you will tame this beast. Every hour you remain silent, you are forging a new neural pathway. You are teaching your brain that survival, and indeed, power, is not contingent on her response. You are becoming the source of your own validation. Finally, and most critically, you will control the reaction. The first two pillars are external actions. This one is purely internal. It is the forging of a mind of iron. Your reconstruction is not about her. It is about you becoming a man who is fundamentally immune to the power another person's validation or rejection holds over him. This is achieved by a total and ruthless redirection of focus. You will declare war on your own mediocrity. Your life is now a project of hierarchical ascension. You will attack this on 4 fronts. The physical. You will go to the gym not to get a revenge body, but to forge physical discipline. Every painful repetition, every drop of sweat, is an act of defiance against the weak man you were. You are building armor. The financial. You will pour every ounce of your obsessive energy into your work, your mission, your purpose. A man's power is a direct reflection of his ability to impose his will upon the world. Your career is not a job, it is your empire. Build it. You must become a footnote in the story of your rise, not the central character in the tragedy of your fall. The social. You will reconnect with your male friends. You will rebuild your tribe. Her strategy was to isolate you, to make her the center of your universe. By rebuilding your social life, you demonstrate that your world is vast, and that she was only a small part of it. Your value is confirmed by many, not begged for from one. Symbolic. This is the culmination of the others. It is the way you carry yourself. You will walk, talk, and exist with the quiet confidence of a man who has faced his own weakness and executed it. Move with purpose. Your gaze will be direct. Your voice will be calm. You will become a man whose presence is felt even in his absence. This transformation is a plan, not a hope. It is a series of deliberate, tactical decisions. Schopenhauer wrote, "A man can do what he wills, but he cannot will what he wills." You cannot simply will yourself to stop wanting her, but you can and you will choose your actions. You will choose the gym over your phone. You will choose your work over your memories. You will choose silence over supplication. And inevitably, once the silence has grown long and your transformation has become undeniable, she will reach out. Simple "hey" or "how are you" will appear on your screen. The weak man would see this as a victory, a sign that his plan worked. His heart would race, his hands would shake. He would immediately reply, eager and available. You are not that man. You will see this message for what it is: a probe, a test, an attempt to see if the pathetic, pleading dog is still waiting by the door. You will let that message sit for hours. You will let her experience the same agonizing uncertainty she inflicted upon you. And when you do respond, your response will be a weapon of pure, calculated indifference, devoid of emotion. It will not ask a question. It will be a statement of fact, a closed door. I'm well. All good. Nothing more. You are not angry. You are not hurt. Simply elsewhere. You are a king who has been interrupted while governing his kingdom, and you are giving her the briefest possible audience before returning to matters of importance. This is the moment the power dynamic shatters. She reached out expecting to find the man she broke, and instead, she found a stranger, a man of stone, a man whose world no longer requires her as a son. This is the point at which her contempt curdles into a terrifying, unfamiliar feeling. Respect, mingled with fear. The war for your self-respect is not one with grand gestures, but with disciplined, daily choices. If you are ready to stop being a casualty and start being a commander, then your enlistment is mandatory. Subscribe to Psychological Dominion and activate all notifications. Each video is a strategic briefing you cannot afford to miss. Press the like button as a solemn vow to never again surrender your power. And now, I have a single question for you, and I demand an honest answer in the comments below. We have established that silence is a weapon. When she inevitably sends that text to test your resolve, what is the one single word you will use to respond that communicates absolute control and indifference? Let the world see our new vocabulary of power. Be an absence that has weight, not a presence that begs. The man who wants to be loved will be discarded. The man who imposes his presence will be feared. The moment of truth arrives not with a thunderclap, but with a quiet notification. A vibration against your thigh, her name on your lock screen. After weeks, perhaps months, of your deafening, disciplined silence, she has broken. She has sent the probe. It is a single, innocuous word. Hey, or perhaps, thinking of you. Do not be fooled by its simplicity. This is not an olive branch. It is a summons. It is the queen checking to see if her jester still waits by the throne. It is a test of her power, an attempt to confirm that she can still pull your strings, that her ghost still haunts your machine. She does not miss you. She misses the control she had over you. She misses the validation of your desperation. She sent that text with a quiet confidence, expecting the immediate, frantic reply of the man she broke. She is expecting the addict, starved for his fix, to come crawling back at the slightest rattle of the cage door. But the man she is texting no longer lives here. You will look at her name on the screen and you will feel nothing. Not anger, not joy, not even the bitter satisfaction of victory. You will feel a profound and chilling emptiness where the obsession once lived. This is the mark of true power. It is not the presence of a new feeling, but the absence of the old one. You will put your phone down. You will go back to your work. You will finish your set at the gym. You will continue the conversation with the person in front of you. You are not ignoring her. To ignore something is to acknowledge its existence. You are simply prioritizing the reality of your new empire over the ghost of your old prison. Hours will pass. An entire day may pass. You are letting her probe dangle in the void you have created. You are forcing her to sit in the same agonizing uncertainty she once forced upon you. You are teaching her the first lesson of this new dynamic. Your time is a resource, and she no longer has access to it. When you finally decide to respond, it is not an emotional decision. It is a tactical one. You will craft a reply that is a masterpiece of calculated indifference. It will be a weaponized piece of punctuation. It will be short. It will be polite. It will be a closed loop. Hope you're well. No exclamation point. No question. You are not opening a conversation. You are closing one she tried to start. You have not asked her how she is, because you do not care. You have not engaged with her prompt. You have acknowledged her transmission and terminated the link. This reply is more devastating to her ego than any angry tirade or bitter accusation could ever be. Angry response would have told her that she still matters, that she still has the power to affect you. Your polite, sterile, and final response tells her something far more terrifying, that she is irrelevant. It is the psychological equivalent of a stranger holding a door open for her, a meaningless, automatic courtesy devoid of any personal investment. And now, she is the one staring at the word, delivered. She is the one rereading the message, searching for a hidden meaning, a crack in the armor, a hint of the broken man she once knew. But there is none. She is confronted with a stranger, a man who does not need her, a man who does not hate her, a man for whom she is simply a person who used to exist in his life. This is the moment her contempt begins its slow, agonizing transformation into a panicked, desperate respect. She has lost control, and she knows it. Strings she once pulled are now severed, and she is left holding useless threads. She may try again, with more urgency. A question, an old inside joke, a picture of a place you once went together. These are not attempts at connection. These are frantic attempts to reboot the old system, to find the bug that has overwritten your programming. You will meet these attempts with the same cold, distant silence. You may not even reply at all, because you have understood the ultimate truth of power. The game is not about flipping the board. It is about realizing you no longer have to play. You have not been working, training, and building this new version of yourself to win her back. That was the goal of the weak man. To win her back would be to return to the prison you have just escaped. It would be to tell the universe that your growth was conditional, that it was all a performance to gain her approval. Your transformation was never for her. It was for you. The respect you have earned is your own. The kingdom you have built is yours to rule. She cannot be its queen, because its very foundation is built upon the ashes of your need for her. To let her back in would be to set fire to your own empire. Schopenhauer's will, the blind striving force of nature, does not reward those who go backward. It rewards assertion, growth, and dominion. You have asserted your will over your own pathetic impulses. You have achieved a state of self-mastery that she can only witness from the outside. She is no longer a player in your game. She's a spectator to your ascension. The ultimate revenge is not her misery. It is your indifference. It is for her to see you thriving, powerful, and complete, and to know, with a certainty that will haunt her, that she has absolutely nothing to do with it. It is for her to realize that in dismissing the weak man you were, she lost her one and only chance to be a part of the life of the power. She will see you, perhaps in public, moving with a purpose and a confidence that is utterly alien to her memory of you. You will make eye contact. You will not snarl. You will not look away in shame. You will give her a slight, polite, and utterly impersonal nod of recognition, and you will continue on your path without breaking your stride. In that single, fleeting moment, she will understand the full scope of her miscalculation. She did not break you. She unleashed you. She thought she was throwing away a stone, only to watch it become a mountain she could never hope to climb. This is the final lesson. Respect is not given. It is not earned through supplication or niceness. It is imposed. It is the silent, unavoidable consequence of your own self-mastery. It is the shadow cast by your power. You do not need her to acknowledge it. You do not need her to apologize. You do not need her closure. Your closure was the day you deleted her number. Your victory was the first morning you woke up and didn't think of her. Your legacy is the empire you are building. An empire where her memory is not even a ruin, but a ghost that has long since faded. You have been given the tools to orchestrate your own resurrection. The choice to wield them is yours and yours alone. If you are committed to this path of absolute dominion over your own soul, then your final act of enlistment is to subscribe to psychological dominion. Activate every notification, because every lesson is a brick in the fortress of your new self. Like this video as a final salute to the weak man you have left behind. And now, for your final command. In the comments below, I demand you answer this question. What is the name of the empire you will build now that you are free? Business? A physical transformation? A creative masterpiece? Give your new world a name and declare it for all to see. The greatest punishment was never your anger. It was your ambition.